first and foremost, on behalf of myself and this audience, I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for this wonderful, wonderful film that will never be, the type of film like this will never be made again. And the fact that I know there's been a lot of stories about how it was difficult to get off the ground and how it crossed the finish line, but it's a magical film and it lives in our hearts. So I thank you all for your talents, for your professionalism, and for the performances and the direction and the writing and everything else you've done with this. Thank you. So, someone's made this up, but I would just love to kind of just do the origin story of this. So Fred, this would start with you. How did this crazy thing begin?
Well, I grew up loving two things. I loved the Universal Monster movies. Saw them all, stayed up till 3 in the morning, you know, back before there was streaming and being able to record stuff. I had to watch it live. And you saw the Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Dracula, all of them. And I was also a huge fan of the black and white comedy movies of the 30s and 40s. Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, the Little Rascals, the Marx Brothers, all of them. And at some point or another, I had this notion, what if the Little Rascals met the Universal Monsters? And it came very quickly, actually. I went to my buddy, Shane Black, who at that time had not written any screenplays professionally, but he was a dear friend of mine. He was very funny, very whip smart. And I said, Shane, I want you to write a script with me. And it's the Little Rascals meet the Universal Monsters. And it's called Monster Squad. And so we wrote the script on spec, which means nobody paid us a dime. We just did it. And we put it on the market. I had made one prior film, Night of the Creeps, which did not do well, but I guess some people liked it.
Woo!
And,
Thrill me.
More now than then, trust me. And so I had a film under my belt, and I went to my hero at that time, who is a producer, writer, director named Peter Hyams, whose work I revered, and I said, and I had met with him and we had a relationship, and I said, Peter, I've got this script, Shane and I have written it, I would love for you to produce it, I would like to direct it, what do you think? And I gave him the script, and he took it to market, and we made a deal to make the movie, much to my shock and surprise and delight, I suppose.
Our delight as well, obviously, too. So as far as like casting goes and stuff like that, how was it for each of you? And Fred, feel free to kick on in since you had something to do with all that.
Well, it wasn't a star vehicle. Nowadays, and for many, many years now, it's really like who's the star. And in this case, the premise was kind of the star, and obviously the monsters. So our first hurdle was I wanted to use the designs of the original Universal Monsters, because those are the ones that I fell in love with as a kid. And this is to me hilarious. We went to Universal with the script and said, we want to resurrect these monsters that you guys don't really do anything with except put them on coffee mugs at the Universal Studios tour. They said, that IP means nothing to us. We don't know what we would do. Thanks, but no, we're not going to make that movie. And I said, okay, well, I guess we'll just make it ourselves anyway. So then it became the process of changing the monster makeups just enough that they wouldn't sue us. But honestly, I don't think they would have anyway. They just didn't care, which is very amusing to me in the light of day today. So we made a deal with a company called Taft Barish, and we were off to the races.
Absolutely. So who wants to talk about, for our actors here and the monster performers, when did this blip in your radar, and what was the casting and auditioning process like for each of you?
Well, I played the mummy. And my friend saw this little tiny ad in Variety magazine, and it said, wanted to play monster male, very small, thin, anorexic type. And so my friend said, you should go for that. And so like regular audition process, I went to Sony Studios. And I got there, And Fred was there, and he was arguing or getting some intense conversation with this woman. And then he says, just walk across the floor. So I walked across the floor. He said, he goes back to the conversation. He goes back to me, he goes, no, walk across the floor, and this time drag your feet. And then he told me to do something with my hands. So I walked across the floor, dragging my feet, and I went like this with my hands. And he went back to the conversation. He comes back to me and goes, as far as I'm concerned, you got the part. So I went to my regular job, and I got a call from a studio and says, hello, is this Michael Reed McKay? I said, yeah. He goes, congratulations, you got the part of the mummy in the Monster Squad. And I looked at my friend who was sitting there and went, I said, but I'm not, and I started to stutter. I was trying to say, I'm not a Screen Actors Guild, I'm not, and she said, we're going to take care of everything. And don't worry about anything. We'll Taft-Hartley you into Screen Actors Guild. And she goes, again, congratulations. This was my first professional job. I was never in a film or anything. And going to a museum, I noticed that like in the 50s when I watched these horror films, the mummies were always usually bulked up or tall. But real mummies were very small like I was. And I went to a museum, and at that time, people were very small, and mummies were very small and thin, like I was. So I felt like I portrayed what a real mummy would look like. Thank you.
Me do it. I think for most of us in the human cast, it was kind of a regular auditioning kind of process. You get this submission from. Request
The
from
mummy was human. He was just dead.
He was just dead. This is true. Current human, I guess. You go in and you audition and you get callbacks, and then you meet everybody that makes the decisions, and you hope to get these roles. And we were all kind of all working, kind of auditioning all the time actors, and this was something that was very interesting, and but one of many of that week probably, that we were all kind of reading for, and we were all much younger, of course. And so it's just kind of that regular go in, audition, call back, get back, and like you say, you get that call, congratulations, you got that movie. Personally, with my instance, is a lot of people may or may not know, they've heard the story a million times. I never auditioned for the role of Sean Crenshaw. And because of my body of work leading up to that, I was always kind of like the cool kid with a lot of hair product and maybe a leather jacket. So I auditioned for Rudy. Wow. Which is maybe why I didn't get Rudy. So you were probably there. But then I think the other, didn't hear back. I mean, callbacks, meetings multiple times, and then time went by, and someone called and said, hey, you got cast in that movie you read for about the monsters. And I said, great, that's awesome. They said, well, not the role that you read for. And usually in this business, that's not good. Because they liked you for something, but usually get a much smaller part. And I knew the script at this time, and I was like, damn, the only other kids in this movie are the assholes. I went, damn. I'm an EJ? And they said, no, you got cast as the lead in the movie. And I went, no, damn it. Rudy was that cool character. He gets the jacket, he kills all the monsters, and he gets the girl, he does get the girl at the end. It happens. And I'm like, that's the cool character. And they go, no, Andre. He's the lead in the movie. This is a good thing. I was like, damn it. Rudy's like so apparently someone in that mix, like I always say, thankfully or fortunately enough, remembered me from my Rudy conversations and said, can we take the hair product out of his hair, give him a terrible haircut, put him in clothes that aren't Rudy clothes, and could he be Sean Crenshaw? And someone said yes. And then I showed up and tried to do it.
I think you did. And a couple years later, you gave us this wonderful documentary.
Well, that's you to judge. Thank you. Yes.
No, again, Woman's Got Nards. If you haven't seen it, and if you like this movie, you'll love the documentary.
which, by the way, is coming out on a special Blu-ray edition next month. Woo! From Kino Lorber. Get it there. Okay. Who has actually seen the documentary? Sorry, since we're on it. Awesome. Thank you. Who has not seen the documentary? It's okay. It's fine. Yeah, awesome. For those of you who have seen it, there's 60 minutes of extra features on this one. So.
Ooh.
Shameless plug. Sorry.
Anybody else want to chime in? It's pass or play. I mean,
What?
Ryan?
What am I? How am I? What am I?
what?
About your
What's mine?
costume
Casting.
How'd you get the job?
casting.
casting process.
Oh.
I don't remember, so.
Is this
go.
thing working? Hi.
That's fair.
I was on. I was working on another production called Kids Incorporated. If anybody, yeah. And yeah, it was a regular audition. Just went and but I read the description of the character, Rudy Halloran, and cool kid, smokes, blah, blah, blah. Got it. Leather jacket. I went in. What you're seeing in the film is exactly what I looked like when I walked into the audition. It was Fred, it was Shane, it was Penny, who was the casting director. Walked in, I saw a packet of Marlboro Reds in Shane's pocket. I'm like, can I grab one of those? And Shane was like, I don't know if we're supposed to give this kid a cigarette. And Fred said, we wrote it into the script. So then I lit, and we did the scene, and I walked out, and there was about 6 or 7 other kids in the audition room, and I went, you guys are fucked.
Yeah, that's for some candy. There you go.
Oh, and I got it.
Yes, you did. Audition psychology.
So, I got a call from my agent and said they want to see you for this movie to play the father of the lead kid. So I walked in, and I had not read the script, and the executive producer, Peter, looked at me and he said, "You know why you're here?" I said, "No, other than to meet on this film." He said, "That's not why you're here. My wife loves you. You just starred in a series where you play the ultimate father, and she thinks you should be the father in this film. You want to play the part?" I said, "Sure." He said, "It's yours. That's it." One second. I was 44 at the time, and later I want to talk about it. I'm 82 now. So I've seen a lot about these people and the film and Fred and got to know it well. And I want to talk about that a little later. I didn't really realize what I was getting into. Anyway.
I have no idea how or why I got this role. Might have something to do with being tall. It's a possibility. But I do remember approaching it with the idea that I was going to scare the director and the writer, who were both the same person, and the producers as much as possible. And I had that in my head from the beginning. And somehow I think that's what swung things in my direction. Possibly, but maybe it's just because I'm tall.
Amen.
So, do I have to turn this on? Oh, it's on. No, it was a regular, very much like Andre said, just a regular audition that I luckily was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to get. And it was just fun for me because I just knew these characters that were on the page. I have a brother who's 6 years younger than me, and so it just felt completely natural and nice, and it just, and it was a great experience, and Fred was wonderful in the audition, and sweet and nice and supportive, and it was, I don't know, I just really liked it.
So do we. Well, thank you so very much. I would have had other questions, but a lot of them are answered in the documentary, so we can do that too. Or you could go to GalaxyCon. We did a virtual event a couple years ago, some of the basics. So I just want to jump on over here and go ahead and invite our audience questions. Like I said, it's over here because this way the camera get on you, so let's try to get in as many as we can. Like I said, let's really try to get the questions inclusive for our whole panel if possible. All right. Oh, okay, all right, okay. I remember you, Miss Potty Mouth. Actually, no. Hey, what's your name?
Audrey,
Audrey. What do you have for us, Audrey?
what was your favorite line you said in the movie?
Ooh, good one. I'm gonna move that podium. So what was your favorite line that you all had?
Guess.
I didn't have any lines, but I had two things that related to me. Was when Rudy killed me and shot me, he said, "Take this Band-Aid breath." And I got this. A friend of mine told me about this one. I had no idea, and he said, "Go on pick whatever." Came right up on Google. I bought it, and I bought a mug that said Band-Aid breath. And then the second one reference to me was when the little boy he says, "Mummy's in my closet." Those are the two reference lines to the Mummy.
Mine was during the fight when Wolfman sort of beats me up in the factory, and Sean comes to my rescue and smacks him in the head with a baseball bat. I take a stick of dynamite and stick it in his pants, and Sean shoves him out the window, and I say, "Suck on this, you son of a bitch."
There's a lot of great lines in this movie that I don't know if they intended to be quotable or not, but it worked out that way. And I've got a few which I like. If I had to pick one, it's kick him in the nards. What's your favorite line?
Look, Shane and I wrote this script, and if I tell you what my favorite line is, then that will make all the other lines in the movie feel bad, so I'm not going to do it.
Come on. Oh gosh. I guess I love, obviously, don't be chicken shit, only just because it's a good life motto also.
Also because you were 5 years old.
Yes, and I was definitely afraid to curse. But I also I love the scene that I have with Mary Ellen where I'm asking about monsters and it's spooky outside. And my parents had just gone through a divorce, so the line where I say, "Are you gonna yell at him?" And she's like, "I love your father." And I'm like, "No, Sean." Always really resonated with me, so I also really love that little exchange that I had.
And that's your favorite line, isn't it? You want to say it again?
Don't be a chicken shit.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. One of my favorite lines, actually, I know what you guys want me to say. But one of my favorite lines is, "Maybe the monsters again." Because it was supposed to just be like, maybe the monsters got him. But Fred, on set, when we were there, he said, "Do it a little bit. Mock her." I was like, "Maybe the monsters." And and it was cut, we're done. But obviously, the best line in the entire film is, "I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I?" With a cigarette in my mouth, with a bow and arrow, I'm gonna go kill some shit. 5 confirmed. 4. 4? 5.
They've been fighting over who got to kill more.
For like 35 years.
And I think it's pretty obvious. The line for my favorite line, the infamous Steve. So yeah, it would be, well, Steve, but he doesn't count.
I'll do Robbie. Doesn't count!
Oh, great question. Thank you again. Woo! Round of applause for that. Let's go to start us off with. All righty. All right, Dad. Yeah, okay. What was your name?
Joe, real solid parenting here, yeah. First of all, thank you. Because of all of you and what you've done, we're the Monster Squad. How many Leonardo DiCaprio memes of Haunting of Hill House when you saw the Monster Squad poster on the bedroom wall were there from you guys?
How many times have you seen a Monster Squad reference in a film or a TV show?
You know what the coolest one is for me? Is there's a graphic novel called, is it Paper Girls? There's one panel where it's a bunk bed and there's a Monster Squad poster next to the bed. And I was like, that is fucking rad. Then they made a TV show of it, and I'm like, where the hell's the poster? They didn't do it. They didn't show it, but it's in the comic.
They couldn't clear it.
Yeah, they couldn't clear it.
There's a movie about a kid's, I forget what it's called. I'm gonna totally butcher it, but it's like a water park in the summer, the way back, and there's a kid wearing a Stephen King Rules T-shirt, and I remember watching it and pausing it and being like, "Holy shit!" I didn't expect that.
Is there a reference in Chuck or something like that in the script? Yeah, I think, yeah. I was reading.
And I can't remember it's not really, it's kind of a Monster Squad reference if you see it, but isn't it a John Lovitz movie where the Gillman suit is in the background of a John Lovitz movie?
And what about, is it the Blackberry movie? That the posters?
Is it? Yeah, the Blackberry movie. There's
Yes,
the posters in the back, which is fairly current, so it's good.
Yeah, so
We're
Blackberry
learning a lot here
and-
today. All right, don't forget, there's your award. There you go.
People love this shit.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Josie, and my question is, what is your favorite character? But there is one exception. The character cannot be yourself.
Oh. Who's your favorite character but can't be yourself?
She knows us narcissistic actors so well.
Beside yourself.
Still gonna say me.
Frankie.
Yeah.
My favorite character is little Michael Faustino, who is the little boy. Because day one, we bonded. And he held my hand, and he looked at me, "Are you okay, Mummy?" And he was just like my bestest friend. He was very cute.
I want to talk. The Monster Squad itself is my favorite character, and I want to go back to your statement. When I think about this movie, 20 years ago, I thought it was dated. I thought it was a fantasy that really didn't mean very much, because I had people coming up to me and signing. I had a kid 5 years old was wearing a Jason mask. And I thought, oh, Jesus Christ. That kid identifies with the darkest side of everything. And the world is going that way. But recently, Andre and my grandson invited me to a screening when I was 82 years old, my birthday. And I got to look at it again. And I came out and I thought to myself, this Monster Squad, these kids represent the best that is in all of us. That you can live up to fighting the dark side in you, and you can transcend the dark side. And we are on the eve of an election where I say to you, transcend the dark side. Fight the monsters. Keep it up.
Oh, there's a headphone. Hard to follow. Look, honestly, Two of my favorite characters in this movie are the two cargo pilots. Cargo plane pilot. Those dudes. But look, if you got to wind it down, it's the hero of the movie that saves the world, which is Phoebe. I mean, look, come on, what a character is that? And because we all didn't get it done, she did. And of course, Ashley's fabulous as Phoebe, but Phoebe as a character in and of itself is what you hope to step up and not be scared of the monsters and actually get it done. And it's a great character.
I like the museum employee who's perplexed about the fact that the mummy has left the museum, and Steven's character says, you know, did he walk away? I mean, how do you, where did he go? Do you think he walked away? And he goes, I don't know. No, sir.
He's
Museum employee.
So I have always had a really soft spot for Stan Shaw's character, for the partner of
Saper.
Is that his name? I don't know.
Named
Saper.
by Shane. He's named after one of the authors of the Destroyer novels.
His
Got a
performance.
huge response.
His performance was always so fun and funny to me, and I always just really loved that character.
Rudy
Not
is
you.
fucking
Not you.
amazing. No,
not
okay,
you,
not me.
Ryan. Not you.
I know.
Not you.
Steven's character to me is the epitome of like badass cop. And I've always loved those films that have that kind of character in it. So I love Mr. Crenshaw. Like every time I see the film, I'm like, God, he's so fucking cool. The great dad. And I think my other character that I love so much is me.
Not you.
Can we do another take and just do it faster?
It's funny, on the page, this character was not my favorite character. But once I saw the movie, it was Phoebe. I mean, she was just so adorable, and it
That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
I'll remember
just
that.
so adorable, and she's still adorable.
She is the hero. She is the hero of the whole thing.
Oh, great question. Thank you so much. Hi, what's your name?
Camille. Will there ever be a Monster Squad 2?
That's your question, Fred.
Here's the thing, guys. This movie did not do well when it opened. Thank you for discovering it after all these years. The fact of the matter is, if somebody called me and said, we want another one, I would seriously think about it.
And the good thing about monsters is that they can be brought back to life. Mm-hmm. Great question. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Justin. I'm going to add. Excuse me. If there was a Monster Squad 2, what would you make it about?
You're putting Fred on the spot.
So Steven's line is, so you're saying the mummy got up and walked away by itself, and then the museum guy goes, what's the museum guy say? It's a great line. I just love this museum guy. Did you take him? He goes, no. He goes, I would have seen it. Until we're there, it's tough to say, but I think everybody would be back. You know, Dracula's in the vortex. That doesn't mean he's dead. Frank, also in the vortex.
0 kills. 0. Wow. 5.
You guys, you just got to accept it. Ryan's going to keep doing this gag.
Stay tuned on that. Great question. Okay, we have just time for one more. So, hey, what's your name?
Gunner.
Gunner, what you got for us?
Everybody has a favorite part, but what's your favorite part?
Favorite part of the film?
What?
I'll jump in. I love the last 15 minutes. It comes to life. It's got energy. It's fun. It's spooky. It's action-packed. I'd say the last 15 minutes is my favorite part.
I like the part where Sean is trying to convince his father to go to the drive-in to see Groundhog. What's the number?
Groundhog Day Part 12.
12.
Now, by the way, this was before there was a movie with Bill Murray called Groundhog Day.
Yes, yes.
We were making fun of the fact that there were every possible version of a holiday turned into a horror film back then. We were making fun of that. And so that's what that means.
I think within the film that you're watching, there is a very heartfelt version of what's happening to a family. And that scene particularly is kind of special if you kind of watch it in a particular way, because it is, a father and son trying to figure out their relationship. And then when Sean Crenshaw says, "No way," that's my favorite line of the whole film. So Andre and I like to talk about that all the time.
He likes my overzealous "no way."
No way.
But we've all been there and haven't been able to get the $5 to go to the movie with our friends, right? We've all been there. That's a great scene. I'll jump in and say, again, I think my favorite scene in the movie is the cargo plane scene with David Profile. It's just it sticks out, and those guys are hilarious. So you stay here and I'll go make spooky sound. Great.
I think my favorite part is the chase in the haunted mansion. It's really cool where they're running and all the vampire brides are coming and the thing and the bugs and the garlic and the pizza. The whole sequence is just very cool. Pocket pizza. It is very Scooby-Doo. And I remember I was supposed to be in that part, but it was too late and I had to go home, I think. I'd hit my hours of time on set and they were like, "She's not in it." And I was like, "Oh." And then I saw it and I was like, "Oh," but it made sense because I had to go get Scary German Guy. So they made that the fix. I don't know. You would know better than me.
My favorite scene is when Fat Kid shoots the monster and I ask him, "What's your name?" And he cocks the gun and he says, "My name is Horace." It speaks for exactly what I'm talking about. All your names are Horace. Kill the monsters.
I'd have to say my favorite part was, okay, I was just basically I approached the role as even though I was scary to look at, I was just the mummy. And so I was friends with all the kids and everything, and there was one scene that Ashley and I had, and she was in the back of a truck. And she didn't want to see me because my face was scary. And Fred told me, he said, "Mike, do me a favor. Show her your lip. Go like that." And show her that, "Oh, Mikey." And so I went in, I did that, and I said, "Oh, Mikey." And from that point on, she calmed down, and she had to scream. And she did the scene like a trooper. And that's how I solved the problem. She was wonderful. And and Fred got what he wanted, and it worked out. It was great. Loved it.
I think pretty much the ending could be, I have a few scenes that I actually like, but the ending would be the most challenging, picking up a little girl, 5-year-old child, and delivering that line was pretty challenging in a lot of ways, especially back then.
Tell us what the line is.
What line? You have to guess, Fred. You can't remember. You wrote it.
This one I know, but I want to hear you say it.
I will in a minute. I'll take you backstage. How's that? And the other scene that I liked very, very much was a scene actually with Frankie. It was sort of an intimate relationship between the two, and it was more Tom Noonan, who, bless him, isn't here today. Wonderful actor, and indeed. But that scene was very special because it's the antithesis of what went on between Dracula and Phoebe, which was a much more dramatic, theatrical type of scene and delicious to play. And I suppose the third scene that I think was great fun for me was just simply throwing cops around. Delightful. And, you know, of course, that famous line, "Give me the amulet, you bitch."
Fred, you have to tell us, did he say that on set? Because I don't remember it, and he says he did.
I think he did.
I must have blacked out. I blocked it out, I guess. I guess so.
Gunnar, what's your favorite scene?
Oh, and Horace has the shotgun and shoots Swamp Thing. There you go. And then he triggers it, and then the kids come out and says something about Fat Kid was a hero, and then he triggers the gun and says, "I'm not Fat Kid, I'm Horace." There you go.
Gunnar, thank you so much. That was a great question to lead us off with. Nightmare Weekend going 2024. This was the cast and creative behind the Monster Squad, and that was our time.